Is yelling at ICE officers or Border Patrol, is that a form of domestic assault on the officers?
No, sir.
Mr. Lyons?
No, sir, it's not.
And is filming of ICE or Border Patrol either an assault or a crime in any way, Mr. Scott?
No, sir.
Mr. Lyons?
No, sir.
So there were people who said, and they were part of the government, I don't think they were interviewed, but part of DHS and part of the administration said that, yes, the officers were using de-escalation tactics. Nobody believes that, all right?
No.
I'm just going to stipulate that. I don't even need your opinion on that. No one in America believes shoving that woman's head in the face in the snow was de-escalation. But your officers need to know they had a verbal encounter with them. She did not place her hands on the officers. She wasn't trying to get their weapon. It's not great. I mean, I don't like to see these encounters either. But is it appropriate for the officers to respond to a verbal barrage of words or whatever? Is it proper to physically throw a woman down or to throw anyone down?
If the only action is verbal, no.
Okay, that's what I want to hear.
Yes.
Correct, sir. Same answer.
Did you provide Secretary Noem with an assessment of what Mr. Petty was engaged in and that he was engaged in domestic terrorism? Is that why she said that? Is because you told her? That was your belief at that time, even though you need an awful lot of investigation now to know exactly what happened. Are you the ones that told her that?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Did anyone who reports to either of you provide this assessment to Secretary Noem that this was mass casualty, or he was attempting to inflict mass casualties and domestic terrorism? Did someone in your staff tell her that?
Not to my knowledge, sir.
Okay.
It's remarkable.
Ranking member of the Senate Homeland Security Committee.
Hold on. Kristi Noem may have lied.
And just out of the blue decided to blurt out domestic terrorist.
That's what she does.
Yeah. And she's still there, Gary Peters. And before that, Committee Chair Rand Paul questioning the acting director of ICE and the CBP commissioner about the use of force and the killing of Alex Preddy. Again, both of these victims of what appeared to be execution-style murders, immediately defamed by the head of Homeland Security and others. Alex Preddy being called a would-be assassin. Was it
Absolute
even
lies.
within an hour?
Absolute lies. And she was sitting in her cowboy hat, standing in her cowboy hat, after Renee Good was assassinated, or not, I guess you can't call it assassinated, but shot at point-blank range. And she sat there and just lied through her teeth, didn't know anything. Again, I have no idea how she still has a job. In any other administration, including Donald Trump's first administration, she would be out. There she is. She's there, and she just starts lying about a woman whose last words were, "I'm not mad at you," turns her car sharply to the right and tries to leave, and then gets a bullet through her brain from her side window. From her side window. And then the feds try to clean it up. And I will tell you something, Mika.
They took the investigation away. So
I will tell you something.
They're cleaning it up.
It's a damn good thing that Rand Paul is where Rand Paul is right now. As a guy, as a small government conservative who always looked to conservative/libertarians as allies and trying to balance budgets and trying to bring down the debt and trying to bring down the size and scope of the federal bureaucracy, I've seen all of those people just cower. It's good to hear Rand Paul actually talking like a small government conservative/libertarian,
But just like a human being.
Well, I would say like a human being, but again, so many other people that have been screaming about small government their entire life now are sitting back and justifying federal officers killing Americans in the street because they were yelling at them. Think about that. Most Republicans are justifying this where federal agents killed 2 Americans in the streets of America because they were being yelled at. That's how far we've come. And now you have Rand Paul, who's actually calling everybody to account. And I'll tell you what, these 2 gentlemen that were testifying yesterday are not going to allow Kristi Noem to set them up as her straw man.
That testimony came after border czar Tom Homan yesterday declared an end to what the White House called Operation Metro Surge in Minnesota. And hours after that announcement, a federal judge ruled the Trump administration has violated the constitutional rights of ICE detainees in that state. U.S. District Judge Nancy Brazel, a Trump appointee, ruled that during the
Trump appointee.
immigration surge in the Twin Cities,
A Trump appointee.
detainees were held in overcrowded conditions and denied access to attorneys. This is, again, the whole detainment process was a whole nother part of the story. She also questioned how the government could deploy thousands of agents, but claim it lacked resources to protect detainees' rights. Brazel wrote, in part, it appears that in
Now,
planning...
is this a Trump appointee who's writing this?
This is the Trump-appointed
This is
judge.
a Trump appointee. Okay, so it's not some
She said
lefty
this.
hippie. Okay.
It appears that in planning for Operation Metro Surge, the government failed to plan for the constitutional rights of its civil detainees. The government suggests, with minimal explanation and even less evidence, that doing so would result in chaos. The Constitution does not permit the government to arrest thousands of individuals and then disregard their constitutional rights because it would be too challenging to honor those rights.
You know, Mika, I know a lot of people have been lied to, and they now believe that because somebody is a migrant or somebody has a green card or somebody's not a U.S. citizen, they've been lied to enough by politicians on the right to now believe that constitutional rights do not apply to those people in the United States or when they're in these internment camps. Well, let me tell you, they
American
do.
soil.
And none other than Antonin Scalia actually said, sorry, you may not like it. The United States Constitution applies to American citizens in the United States, anybody who's in the United States, and any American wherever they are across the globe. That's Scalia, the godfather of conservative jurists, saying that. And that's not saying anything radical. That's just the reality. So if you're in these internment camps, whomever you are, your constitutional rights could be violated if it's on American soil. I know there are a lot of you out there that think the Constitution should be shredded and only apply to the people that you want the Constitution to be shredded, applied to. I'm so sorry for you. So sad. Too bad, so sad. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
The Constitution applies to all of these people that are in all these internment camps where members of Congress are not even able to visit on a regular basis. This is bizarre as well. Just bizarre that these internment camps are actually like being hidden in plain sight.
Alligator Alcatraz in Florida.
We
But
have to have more transparency.
back to Minnesota, it's important to point out the two people who were killed in what many are calling an execution-style murders are American citizens. So what a mess.